What's up, guys? Riot just released the TFT patch 10.8 patch notes, so let's just dive right into it. There's a little summary here, but some of these, they don't always happen, so let's just see what the official notes are. We're introducing XERATH, which is a 5-star unit. He's also a Dark Star and a Sorcerer, so this means that Dark Stars and Sorcerers get a buff because they now have one more option to go, and pretty much every tier 5 unit gets a little worse or weaker because it's now harder to complete them. So if you're finding, for example, Lulu very easily before, now it's not as easy to get her because there are more units in the pool now. So what he does is after he gets 80 mana, he transforms, summoning meteors to strike down random foes in place of his normal attacks for a pretty long time, right? And they deal a bunch of magic damage, and if they kill their target, all adjacent enemies take bonus magic damage and are stunned for 1.5 seconds. Seems pretty good to me. Depends what his attack speed is. I'm guessing if you build like attack speed on him, he shoots more meteors, but we'll see how it works out in the actual game. So moving on to the systems, new galaxies are being introduced. We have the trade sector. Players get one free reroll in each round. I think this is a great addition to the game because, especially in the early rounds, it makes it so you have double the amount of choices that you normally do. So I think that's definitely going to be pretty nice for the game. It's going to make high rolling early a little stronger. For example, it's going to be much easier to find like 3 cybernetic units or like 2 brawler units, whatever you're looking for. Superdense galaxy, upon reaching level 5, players receive a free force of nature. So in this galaxy, I suspect people are going to be leveling to 5 much earlier. For example, at around stage 2-5, I think it is, right after the carousel, people are definitely going to be reaching level 5 because they get an additional power boost from doing so. They also changed the player damage in this patch, which we'll get into later, so there's like even more incentive to do this. There's also about a 50% chance of getting a special galaxy versus a normal game, and you'll get one of the 2 new ones, slightly more than the other ones. So some other system stuff, win streaks are being changed, so this is one of the bigger changes. Before you get 1 gold for 2 game win streaks, 2 gold for 3 game win streaks, and 3 gold for 4 and above. Now you get 1 gold for 2 to 3 game win streaks, 4 for 2 game win streaks, 2 gold for 4 game win streaks, and 3 gold for 5 and above. So this means in the first round, or first stage, stage 2, you have to lose all 5 in order to get the 3 gold bonus. So if you win the first round, you can't like change your mind to lose streak. Well, you still could, but it just wouldn't be as effective. They also changed the player damage, so instead of having this scaling, they reduced it by a tiny bit, and now units deal double the amount of damage for the first 4 units. First 5 units. So the first unit deals 1 damage, second 4, 6, 8, 10, and then the 6th unit deals 11 damage. So the 6th unit only deals 1 damage, but the first 5 units deal 2 each. So this does increase the player damage overall, so we definitely have to be careful about that. For example, in the late game, not in the late game, in the mid game, you could easily take like 20 damage, whereas before we were taking around like 15 damage, such as on stage 5 or 4, or 5 or 6. They also introduced new carousel variations, so keep an eye out. I'm excited to see what that is about, but I guess we'll find out once we actually play the game. So they added a bunch of the super traits, so 9 Blade Master, 9 Dark Star, 6 Infiltrator, 6 Protector, 9 Rebel, 8 Sorcerer. It's going to be really hard to hit these without spatula items. Sorcerer doesn't have a spatula item, so you'll just have to hit 8 exact units. I don't know if any of these are actually going to be played, but the Blade Master one seems really strong. I don't think the Dark Star one is that much stronger than the 6 Dark Star. Same with Infiltrator. I think this is definitely the strongest one because you'll be pretty much just attacking non-stop. I can already see a Kale going absolutely nuts with this, but you're going to need a lot of spatula items to hit that, so it's going to be tricky to hit, to say the least. Celestial heal got changed a little bit. Now at 4 Celestial, you gain 4 and 6 Celestial, you gain a lot more heal. Ooh, interesting. I didn't know why they wanted to buff this. I think 4 Celestial is already being played quite a bit right now, and you're just going to be doing a lot more healing now. So that's actually a little scary for me. Next up, we have the Cybernetic Nerve, which is at 6 Cybernetic, they gain 50 less health and 5 less attack damage. It's a very minor nerf. It affects Aurelia the most because she uses the most out of the attack damage, but it still should be a strong composition. Mech Pilot is changed. Instead of 100% of Pilot's health, it's now 1800 plus 50% of their pilot's health. Someone's going to have to do the math on this because I am just reading this right now, so I don't actually know how that's going to affect them. And then their spell damage is changed a little bit. They now deal less spell damage at pretty much all levels by like 100 or 200, depending on what it is. Mercenary, they now can see which upgrades you purchase for each of your mercenaries. I really like this change because now it's easy to tell like what upgrades you have, and you don't have to remember or forget what happened before. And oh, I like this. They buff Space Pirates. Now the item drop chance is up to 20%. Maybe we could see them come back. Gangplank's a little weak right now, but we'll see if this brings in the 4 Space Pirate composition. Spell power for Sorcerers is now 20, 40, 80. Sorry, 20, 45, 80, so they buff 4 Sorcerers. I don't really know why they're buffing Sorcerers because they already added XERATH, which is a buff in its own, because now they have more options. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Right now, the only viable Sorcerer composition is either going 2 Sorcerers or going the E-Girl composition, which revolves around 4 or 6 Sorcerers with 6 Star Guardians. But maybe now people build like a XERATH build, or maybe like there's a 6 Dark Stars build with XERATH and Lux and then 2 other Sorcerers to really do like a XERATH carry composition. But looking at the champions, Caitlyn got buffed, perfectly deserved, because I think she is a little weaker than some of the other 1 costs, though I think early levels she's fine because she already overkills most units, so this is mainly a buff for her later in the game. Xayah got a buff as well. This is weird. I don't agree with this because I think Xayah is seeing a lot more play now. There are a lot more Blade Master comps, and because she's a Celestial, and Celestials got buffed as well, she could definitely be played a lot more often now. Zoe's stun duration increase, that's perfectly fine. She's the worst cost unit, and she also has her damage increase. Though her stun increase is only at level 3, so I guess it might be worth going for that now. But this is mainly the bigger buff, 50 more damage on her level 1 and level 2 for the damage. But she's still like not that strong of a unit. But now she's slightly stronger. But with all the Sorcerer buffs, maybe he's like a good transition unit now. We'll have to see. Moving on to Tier 2 champions, Annie's armor is increased and her shield blast shield is increased as well. Wow, they're buffing a lot of Sorcerers. I'm actually kind of worried. Darius now needs less mana, so he's going to be much stronger. Lucian attack damage reduced, so they really want to hit Cybernetics. Recon, oh yeah, I heard about this change. This is actually a huge change. He now attacks the furthest enemy within 3 hexes, and the biggest change here is his knockup radius is now 1 hex instead of 2. Before, it always looked like he was hitting the whole map, which is kind of ridiculous for a 2-cost unit. So I think this change is pretty justified, but I have a feeling he might be much weaker now, right? His total mana is reduced to 100, and his mana is now 50 out of 80. Because if his total mana is 100, why does it have 80 down there? Maybe this is a typo. We'll have to confirm this back later. I'll write a comment on this later. So Shen buffed. Whoa, why are they buffing Shen? I feel like Shen's already really strong because he completely wrecks some of the auto attack units. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't really think he needed that, but now on to the 3-cost champion. Shaco nerf justified. His deceive damage at level 3 also got nerfed as well, but he got buffed at level 1 to compensate. So now he's going to be easier to transition with, but harder to play in the late game. Syndra range increased. Interesting. Why are they buffing Syndra? She's already really strong. It also buffed her at 3-star. Wow. And Sorcerer's got like 7 different buffs so far. We're not even done yet. Fizz, health reduce, attack speed increase. Yeah, this doesn't really matter. I thought he was fine, but these are just like level 1 changes. It's whatever. Jinx attack speed increase. Yeah, Jinx definitely needed a little more power because Blaster Brawler's a little lacking right now. Soraka health increase, and her wish healing is also increased. Wow, she's a Star Guardian, so this is a Sorcerer buff. I don't know why they're buffing Sorcerers. That's like we're at the 7th or 8th buff now. Wukong Cyclone damage. It does 4,000 at level 3. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, Wukong, he's kind of like Malphite from last set, right? His synergies aren't so good, but he's like a tanky CC unit, you know? So I always thought he was perfectly okay. He's obviously worse than Malphite because he only hits the people right next to him. Well, he eventually hits everyone else, but it always takes a while and there's some RNG involved. But he's definitely worse than Malphite from last set. But I'm glad he gets buffed because he's like probably the lowest played 4-cost unit. Vel'Koz's raid duration is now shorter, but he'll now cast more efficiently on a smaller group of units, so I'm guessing this is overall a buff for him. Aurelian's Soul is now higher health and also more armor, so this is a small buff to Rebels, so I'm glad they did that because Rebels are absolutely dead right now. So moving on to the items, Chalice of Favor now also grants mana to the holder. That's a good buff. I like that. It's pretty intuitive as well. Deathblade's getting big changes. You now start at 0 stacks, but now it gives 30 attack damage per stack. That means you just need to get 1 kill to get back to normal, and then every kill after that is like icing on the cake. That looks really awesome. I actually like this a lot because it makes the late game fights a lot more one-sided, which would be fun to watch. Frozen Heart attack speed reduced slow is now a little higher, which is good. No one was really building that. Rapid fire cannon bonus range doubled. I don't know why they do that. I guess it's more useful on melee champions right now, but I don't really know why they would want to do that for rapid fire cannon. And it now displays a visual beam on attack when increasing the range of low range champions. Okay. That's really weird. I wonder why they wanted to buff this for melee champions. I always thought of this as like a long range champion type of item, but I guess they want more diversity for that. Shroud of Stillness with Hex increase, so that's a big buff. I already think this item is really good against certain compositions, such as like a Vel'Koz. It actually completely destroys him, so this is a big buff to that. Tear of the Goddess, mana reduced to 15 and all items adjusted accordingly. This means that maybe Syndra's hit a little bit here, but she could still build 2 of these in order to get, 2 Seraph's Embrace to get full mana right away. But I guess overall this is a nerf to everyone who likes mana items, so that's like Misfortune, Echo, Syndra, those types of users. Zeke's Herald range is now 1 hex, but it now doubles the attack speed of what you get. So that's going to be really good on a champion like Karma. You put her next to Jhin, he gets the attack speed buff, which of course then gets converted into attack damage for him. And yeah, so this is going to be much stronger of an item because you didn't really need to buff 5 people before. You only really needed to buff your carries, so this would be pretty interesting to see how it's going to be used in the future. Shields in Overtime now have 66% reduced effectiveness, so that's nice. It was always kind of counterintuitive that shields weren't really affected, right? Bug fixes, Cybernetics is now correctly a bronze level trade. Mordekaiser tooltip states that shield lasts 8 seconds now. Fix issues around the taunt voices. Champions say when they win. Okay, yeah, that was pretty funny when a dead champion was taunting people. Adding additional Deathblades to a unit no longer resets all other Deathblades counters. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that happened. Fix a bug where selling a Mech Pilot while the trait was active would give you 0 gold. Wow, really? I never even knew that was a glitch. Did you guys bump into this or find this out on your own? Fix a bug where Super Mech wasn't benefiting from the Infiltrator or Demolitionist trait bonus when on an away board. You know, I always wondered why sometimes he wouldn't stun. Now we know why. The Super Mech still doesn't benefit from a team-wide trait bonus like Mystic on an away board. Interesting. So like Sorcerer and Mystic don't work, but they know about this issue, so I'm guessing they're going to fix it in the next patch, but just be aware about that in your games. Though going Sorcerer when you go Mech Infiltrator is still going to be good because Kaisa is going to be getting the bonus, and she's mainly your big spellcaster in that comp. So fix a bug where summon units pulled in by Thresh or Zezirot Portal were contributing to player damage. Interesting. I always wondered whether Thresh's guys actually contributed to that, but I guess they're not supposed to. And lastly, Kahn spawns 2 rows closer so mobile players can see what items he has. So now we're on to the mobile changes. I'm not going to go over these. These are probably all just UI changes, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the patch. What do you guys think are going to be the strong compositions? I feel like they buffed Sorcerers a little too much. Let's see what they did. Annie buff, Syndra buff, Zoe buff, Soraka buff. The trait got buffed, so that's like 5 buffs. They did nerf Vel'Koz, but I don't really think Vel'Koz is a nerf if they improved his targeting, right? Because if his targeting is better, isn't he going to get much more value from his ultimate? Also, Tear of the Goddess is nerfed as well, so I guess that does hit them quite a bit, but the addition of XERATH is going to be huge for them because it just gives you 1 more item, and he's like an actual carry unit, so you don't have to rely on Syndra anymore. But I think XERATH's going to be more played in a Dark Star comp rather than a Star Guardian Sorcerer composition for sure. But yeah, Actually, now that I think about it, like Darkstar is going to be a lot stronger. They never really played 3-star Shaco. So if you have level 2 Shaco, add in a XERATH to the mix, add in a Lux to the mix, and then you still have Jhin. You now have like 3 different carries and like 1 CC unit. And now you don't have to run Jarvan anymore either. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what happens there. Protector's also got a big change. Recon, he's going to ult more, but I do think he's going to be weaker because his range he lost a lot of squares, right? Because having a 2 hex radius is more than double a 1 hex radius because it reaches more, because it's a circle, right? So he reaches more people. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what comps you want to try out next patch, and let me know what types of guys you want to see in the future as well. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.